A season like no other! Falkirk have went through the whole league campaign and not lost once! Unbelievable! Phenomenal! Incredible! Invincible!
This is Falkirk Daft.
With Behind the Wall.
Into the box, it's Adams! And McKeever scores! Agyeman lets it run, might have a chance of a shot. It's Agyeman! Oh, what a goal from Alfredo Agyeman!
Still alive, Dylan T tries to bend one,
And it's a wonderful goal! Orfield! Oh, he's back! The king is back! Scott Orfield! What a Falkirk return!
This is Falkirk Daft.
With Behind the Wall. We're navy blue. Are you?
Captain Chaos, our Ghanaian prince, saved the day yesterday and we remain top of the championship after a 2-each draw with Hamilton Accies. We'll talk about that game and much more. Welcome to Falkirk Daft. I am your host, John McAllister. With me as ever, the Ginger God Pod himself, the one-man band in the main stand. He is Ross Wayne, everyone.
Good afternoon, sir. How you doing?
Afternoon, Ross. We're still recovering from Friday night and the festivities that we had at Falkirk Daft Live 3. It was some night, Ross.
It was one of the best, if I'm being really honest. It was brilliant. I certainly think, for me anyway, that was probably the most enjoyable one I think we've done so far as well. I thought the guests were all on fire. Obviously, we knew who we were getting with John and Paul, although maybe some people didn't, because that was maybe the first time they've seen him in a non-PC or recorded.
He was brilliant. John and Paul Smith is very sharp and very quick-witted. Yeah. And obviously you only really see John on TV interviews, right? But he was more relaxed in that environment. We kind of warmed him up a wee bit. It was no holds barred. We said to him, obviously, before anything that's off the table you don't want to ask about. I said, no. So obviously we asked about the Callum situation. We asked about Scott Arfield. It was brilliant, and he was very honest. I'm glad there was no board members in the room at the time of the questioning. But it was quite funny about that. I mean, he was just having a wee sort of dig and stuff. It was great, really, really brilliant. I thought the two of them were magnificent. And what was even more magnificent is we did Falkirk Daft versus. For you guys that couldn't be there, it was me and Paul against John and Ross, and myself and Mr. Smith took home the glory. It was celebrating in front of John McGuinn and getting it up John McGuinn was a bit unusual, but I was like right in his face dancing across the stage to the Champions League music.
You know what, I felt bad for him though, because he obviously pulled me in and he went, "Oh, I'm really sorry," and I was like, "No." I was like, "Listen, we're all part of the team here," but it was a tough quiz. Fair play to Big Grant with the questions as well.
No, but to Grant, I've got to say thank you very much to Grant, who came up with a great quiz. So that was the first part of the evening. And then we went on to the second part, which was Crunchy and Ian McCall. Brilliant, both of them. Again, just I think we've all seen Crunchy at one thing or another. But he was so relaxed about it, and Ian actually, again, Ian was brilliant as well. I thought he was very candid, very honest. Again, there was nothing off the table with that. We asked about the loyalty mantra thing. We asked them about, even when he asked them the question, obviously. Do you have any regrets about moving it? He said, no, absolutely nothing at all, because, the boys, obviously, Yogi went on it and done great things. And he was just very honest, very candid, very funny as well.
He was fantastic, he really was, and I think he probably changed a few people's perceptions of him. And I know some people will never change their opinion because it was very personal to Falkirk at the time, right? However, he did explain the whole situation. He was very even. He was down to like the nitty gritty as to how much they had offered him to join Dundee United.
$7,000 a week. No wonder he left.
Listen, you and I would go and work for Dunfermline for $7,000 a week.
Well,
do you know what I mean? Well,
but no, he was really, really good, and he actually he messaged me, and he says he actually said, and he actually on the night said, "You've got something like the club. There's something really special happening around Falkirk at the moment." He was really like, I just think the buzz and the atmosphere in the room in the night,
it's phenomenal.
It was amazing. And obviously we had the F Factor final as well. Thank you very much to Brendan, Owen and Tyler, who all came up on stage. They did the bit. We had Anna Murray, Captain Anna Murray as well, and all the Falkirk women were there as well. Anna on stage as a judge, and obviously we had Kieran as well from the Ultras, King of the Ultras. Kieran was on stage. A little worse for wear, let's just say.
Yeah, and it helped when he was bidding on the Scott Arfield signed shirt in the auction as well, let's face it.
Absolutely, but yeah, no, it was brilliant, and well done to Tyler with his Ethan Ross ABBA-esque song. Came up, absolutely smashed it, had the whole crowd, the whole room singing around. In fact, they all did. Brendan as well, and Owen all had them singing along to their tunes as well, so it was really, really good. But well done to Tyler, who won the final of the F Factor, and he was absolutely delighted.
Delighted when he got his captain's armband as well, didn't he?
Aye, no, absolutely, and it was absolutely sensational stuff. So brilliant night, and we raised over £2,000 for Andy's Man Club as well. That's a male mental health charity. We wanted to put the money into this chosen charity just because of I believe a young boy Gavin Mitchell from Hall Glen, sadly lost his life to men's mental health, and it was, so loads of money raised for that. And we've got we've the chance to raise even more money, Ross, because we've got 4 tickets for Dunfermline, haven't we, in a silent auction?
We do, yeah. So, as people will know, the Dunfermline game is a complete home sellout now. I think it sold out on Wednesday night last week, night, Thursday morning. However, we have been very kindly donated 4 main stand tickets by a massive Bairns fan who is over at Service Metals North, which is over in Cumbernauld. So we've got 2 pairs, so 4 tickets for the main stand. And we're going to do it as a silent auction. So if you're listening to this and haven't seen our social media post today on X and over on Facebook, all you need to do literally is drop us a DM with your silent bid auction for each pair of tickets, and we will draw that on Wednesday morning, and we'll be in touch with the 2 people with the highest silent bids.
So there you go, pair of tickets. If you've not got a ticket for the Dunfermline game, get involved, drop us a DM, Facebook, email us as well if you want, just whatever you want, John or Ross at falkirkdaft.co.uk. Put your bid in, pay the tickets. We've got 2 pairs to give away, so yeah, if you've not got a ticket for the Dunfermline match, that's the best way you can, and obviously the money going to Andy's Man's Club as well. So brilliant stuff. Thank you very much, of course, to our sponsors who we met on the night as well, who were all there, Ian and the rest of the boys, the Falkirk Football Fans in Training, all absolutely steaming on the night. I had to go and give Big Ali from the Falkirk Football Fans in Training a telling off because he kept messing with the music, along with the Falkirk women's team as well. They kept going over and trying to change the songs and everything.
Oh really? I never saw that.
Oh, I got a swift talking to by me, but they were all in great form. Great to see them. Dougie, happy retirement. Dougie, who's the Falkirk Football Fans in Training, it was his retirement on that day, and he came along at night and he said it was really, really good way to finish what would have been quite a sad day for him. But happy retirement, Dougie, enjoy that. And if you want to be part of the Falkirk Football Fans in Training, get involved with the Lava Cup, which is coming really, really soon. Every Monday, there at the stadium, 8 to 9, and Tuesday, 7:30 to 8:30, making memories through football, creating that brilliant camaraderie that they've got with each other. And I've got a new initiative we've talked about before with the Falkirk Foundation Walking Football Squad, which is the Super Vets football, strictly over 50s, 8 aside, old school rules, and that happens on Friday, 5 to 6 at the stadium. So if you're not up for the Falkirk Football Fan and Training games, it's maybe a bit too much for you, that's a really nice happy medium if you're over 50 and looking to just kick a ball again, is it, and make a bunch of new mates. It's brilliant. The boys are brilliant. Get in touch with them. All the details are below. Ian, Willie or Dougie will be back in touch with you and get you signed up for that. So thank you very much, boys. And thank you very much to Ian as well, who bid. We had some Scotland tickets, and Ian, who had the winning bid on that, £500, all went into Andy Man Club as well. So thank you so much for that, guys. And we'll see you down at the Enshire night on Friday
night. Yeah. There we go.
There you go. So leading into that, then let's just talk about the speakers night. Obviously, that's coming up on Friday. Peter Martin is going to be the MC, and football impressionist Paul Reed is going to be there. Looking forward to it, Ross.
I am. I've seen Paul Reed a few times over the years, and
Oh, I've never seen him.
Oh, John, he's one of the best impressionists going around. Honestly, if you were to close your eyes, you would think they were in the room. He's that good. So yeah, and obviously we know Peter from previous speakers nights as well, and he'll hold that room well as he always does, and I'm sure he'll whatever auction they have on, I'm sure he will be getting as much money raised for the academy as he can as well.
That's what it's all about. It's all about the academy. It's all about raising money. It's the biggest fundraiser for the season for them. So still tables available. It's 65 quid, or you can get a table to 10 for £600. So if you fancy getting down there on Friday at the Inshira, paddy.haney@falkirkfc.co.uk. Speak to Paddy. Tell him we sent him your way. I'm sure he'll give you a discount. But paddy.haney@falkirkfc.co.uk if you want to come along to the Inshira on Friday night. I think we're both going, Ross, so it should be a good laugh.
Yep. So we have been kindly invited along by Scott at Crunchy Carrots. Looking forward to that. And obviously, well, I don't know about you. My intention is to behave, however, because we're in hospitality on Saturday. So yeah, it's a big 48 hours coming up this weekend.
Absolutely looking forward to it. Shout out to the Falkirk women. They've just finished their game against Hutchie Vale, and they spanked them 10-0. Our captain started off the game. Speaking to Anna Murray on Friday evening, she was like, I need to get a goal. I'm desperate to get a goal. And she got the first goal. Jane got two. Shannon got two. Shannon was there on Friday night as well, showing us her amazing goal that she scored. And we're like, let Shannon, next time you score it, ping it over to us so we can share it on our socials. She'll be gutted. She got hooked at half time. She was on for a hat trick, but she got a double in the first half.
I wonder, hopefully she's okay. Hopefully that was just to give people some minutes, because I know, listen, Shannon and Anna, as we know, they take their career very, very seriously, as they were chomping into a kebab at 2:30 Saturday morning. What's the name of the place beside behind the wall?
Yeah, absolutely. We saw them and caught them in there after the event as well. So Erin, Lila, Lucy and Ella all got the goal. So 10-0 to the Falkirk women this afternoon. Brilliant. And we've got our new date for our Falkirk Daft Women's Day, haven't we?
There is, yes. So there was a little chatter that it was going to be on the 9th of March, John. However, that day is a day where they're not actually able to play on the main Falkirk Stadium pitch. So our new date for Falkirk Daft Partners Day is going to be on the Sunday, the 23rd of March, and that's against Renfrew Ladies. And that's actually going to be inside the main stadium pitch. So just as we talked about before, it will be £4 for adults, free to any child, and also free if you're a member of the Falkirk Community Foundation, which there are hundreds of people. So it'd be amazing to get 400 or 500 through the gate, if not more, John. It would be absolutely amazing.
Yeah, we're speaking to the girls. They were really excited about it. So if you could get down, put it in your date in the diary now. That's going to be 23rd of March, and it's against Renfrew Ladies at the Falkirk Stadium. We want to get as many of you down there as possible. Support the girls because they love it. They absolutely love it, and they feel like, obviously they're all coming from different backgrounds. They support different teams. Speaking to the girls on Friday, but they came on Friday. They had an amazing. They said they had a great time. They got a bunch of Falkirk Daft bucket hats kicking about, and they had a really good night. So much so they were all getting shushed at the back because they were chatting away at the veg during the event. They were like, everyone kept shushing us. But no, they're a great bunch of girls. So let's get along as many as we can to that game against Renfrew Ladies on the 23rd. Love to see you down there. And welcome back to Bryony Ross, who signed from Livingston Women this week back at the club.
Saw that as well. That's really good signing. So welcome back to Bryony. And obviously I didn't notice if she was in the squad today, but welcome back, and that is another good addition to the squad. Yeah.
New date for the Ayr United game for the men's team. That we kind of saw this coming. It was the Friday, the 11th of April. That's been moved to box office Bairns yet again, and it's going to be a huge match, that, Ross.
Massive game. You just know already it's going to be a huge, huge game. we will get I assume, unless Ayr do something weird with the ticket allocations. I think if we get what Hibs got in the Scottish Cup a couple of weeks back, we should get about 3,000 tickets. Although I know there was a few Ayr fans saying, "Oh, limit them to 1,000," which is what they got for the trip to Falkirk last month, obviously. But I can't see Ayr United doing that. I think Falkirk will have a sizable support on the night, even with it being on TV. Obviously, for me, it's actually going to be a help because I'll be over on Florida when that match is played. So I will be watching that. What kickoff will be like 43 in the afternoon or something for me. So, but yeah, that's a huge game. I'm surprised the Livingston game that's midweek on the 25th hasn't been picked for TV. I thought that
Yeah.
would have been as well.
Yeah, no, that's. I mean, two huge games. It is a shame it's not on a Saturday. These two,
Yeah.
because they're two season-defining games potentially. So it's a shame it's not on the actual Saturday. But like we said last week, we don't know if that'll be a good thing or a bad thing. It'll just be a thing, and we'll find out what happens. If you're looking for match tickets as well, Airdrie tickets are on sale, but the tickets you bought on January the 3rd for Tuesday night, they're still valid as well. So there, and obviously we have got the Stirling Shard Cup final on Tuesday the 11th as well. So that's a week on Tuesday as well.
Yes, still to get my ticket for that actually.
I don't think you'll be all right. I think you'll be all right for a ticket for
Well,
that.
we should be. No, we will be. But are we sticking with the main stand that night, or are we Kevin McAllister standing it?
I don't know how busy it'll be in the Kevin McAllister that night, so we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. But yeah, we'll get on to the Stirling Shard Cup final on Tuesday the 11th. And we've got to say, before we move on to talk about the Hamilton game, if we must, is thanks very much to Behind the Wall as well for having us on Friday night. Thanks to Brian and the whole team at Behind the Wall, Paul, Scotty, treated us really brilliantly again. The Gaffer, we had dinner with John and Paul before it. They certainly enjoyed their burgers. It didn't have a Falkirk Daft final, though, which I was quite disappointed in. I tried to convince Crunchy and McCall to have one as well, but they weren't up for it. They just stuck with the beer as well.
Stuck to the beer.
But no, it was a great night. Thanks to Brian and the team at Behind the Wall. Remember, it's Falkirk through and through. They're Falkirk pub. You get your Falkirk Daft Venoms there. You can get a Scott Arfield on top of your pint of Guinness if you want. You can get anything on top of your pint of Guinness. And they've got obviously Falkirk's best selection of fine wines, lagers, craft and cask ales. And I think they sold, from the last records, about over 130 Venoms on Friday evening. Everyone seemed to be drinking Falkirk Daft Venoms. So brilliant. And
Yeah, we had a few towards the end of the night as well, didn't we?
we certainly did. Brian's got something special planned for that as well, so
Yes, he does.
watch this space on that. And remember, if you want to get down to the games, £5, but that deal is amazing because you go in Behind the Wall, you get your bus ticket, you go down to the game, and you come back and you just hand over your ticket at the bar, and you get a drink for it, so you can get a pint after the match as well. And obviously away games, they do the exact same deal, £10 for all the away games, and then Ayr and Greenock's £12.50 with the same offer, which is brilliant. So if you want to get involved in that, you want to get tickets for any of the away matches, speak to Scotty behind the bar, or just give them a call, leave your name and number, and they'll arrange it for you. All the entertainment as well Behind the Wall is on their website, behindthewall.co.uk. Lots of good gigs. I noticed actually when I was in the toilets, Complete Stone Roses, so I'm up for that. I think I loved it.
That one, John.
Oh, I can't remember off the top of my head, but Complete Stone Roses.
I'd be up for that as well if
Right.
it's if I'm still here.
Brilliant.
As in, I don't mean alive. As in, obviously, I've got an upcoming holiday.
Yeah.
I just realised how that worded.
Brilliant. So I get tickets for all the events, and you can check out all the events at behindthewall.co.uk. Right, let's get into the football now, however, and talk about that 2-2 with Hamilton over at New Douglas Park yesterday. And we're going to do it in the company of two gentlemen from the Kevin McAllister FSC. It's Callum and Ryan.
How you doing, guys? You all right?
All good,
yeah.
Callum, all good. Last saw you at Falkirk Daft Live, you pair. Callum, you were weren't drinking, were you?
Oh, I was. I was just.
Oh, well, you seemed quite sober to me when I saw you, which was
He handles it better than you, John. I think
That's very true. That's very true.
It was just a way to say I couldn't say the same for you, John, when I was speaking.
No, I had indulged in a few Vms. What about yourself, Ryan? Did you have a good night on Friday?
Yeah, very good night. First one, so it was a good experience.
Yeah. Hopefully not the last one as well. Though we were saying everyone's kind of coming in. That was brilliant. I don't know how we're going to top that. I just like, when you've got your Player of the Millennium, you've got a manager who led you to one of your most famous Scottish Cup victories, and you've got the gaffer and the assistant manager. It's like, I don't know how we're just going to have to go all out, get Russell Latapy, Stainrod, Will Vokes, and Scotty Arfield. I think.
Quite right. You're set the bar, so how can you take it higher?
I know
that is true. That is now the challenge, is to take it. What I would say though is John and Paul did absolutely love it as well, and from the conversation we've had, I think they would come back at some point as well. So did
you obviously Ross has got John's phone number. Did you text them, Ross, and say, "Oh, thank you so much for coming last night, John. I love you. Thanks so much."
It might have been a 2:30 in the morning text. No, it wasn't at all. I wouldn't have done that. No, it was a Saturday morning, and he was delighted to have came along, and he loved it all, and obviously meeting the fans. And I think the boys all agree. It was we were talking about it earlier on. It was just great to hear the pair of them in a non PC, recorded setting.
Yeah, no, and I was not surprised when they both said their favourite TV show was Match of the Day and Sports Scene. That wasn't a joke.
What I was very surprised about, when it wasn't a hard question, was, what's your favourite film, John? And he was like, I don't know. And he was like, on the spot, and he couldn't think of his favourite film. I don't think I've got one. That's what it was.
Debbie Does Dallas, probably, I would think.
I'm surprised the pair of them never requested a TV screen in front of the stage so they could watch Livingston and Partick.
I know.
They could see it though. They could see through the door well and behind the wall. They could see this. They could see the TV at the back of the bar.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, there was a big cheer. Obviously, went up when Thistle got their goal. Not so much a big cheer when Livy got their equaliser. But you know what? We're stood still. It's still stalemate, and then Ayr obviously gained a bit of ground there as a result of that. So all to play for, and let's talk about that game against Hamilton, gents. But before we do that, let's ask you, because we've had you on before, Callum, haven't we? You've been on before. Ryan, we've not had you on before. Tell us about your journey as a Falkirk supporter, how you ended up supporting the Bairns.
I was with my dad and stepdad, both big fans, so that was pretty set on for the start. So I think I vaguely remember maybe making some appearances at Brockville when I was right young, but I'd probably been even close to primary school age. But I remember my first kind of season would have been the first season down at the Falkirk Stadium. Can't really remember the first game that we went to, but obviously when you started playing your Hibs, when Brownie was still there and stuff like that, that's probably kind of my earliest memories of that. And I don't know what I always go back to. I can't remember what season it was, but I always remember Latapy scoring against Motherwell from about 30 yards out. That little scluffery, a free kick. That's one of my earliest ones.
Yeah, that would have been maybe 2006. I want to say maybe 06 or 7, something like that.
Something like that. It's like kind of before Christmas. I'm sure. I remember it being quite cold in that. So, but that's my.
Yeah, and we've been asking the question all season. Callum, coming to you, who's the most disappointing player you've seen in Navy Blue?
It's actually one I thought that hasn't really came up yet. I don't think it has. A goalkeeper, and it wasn't from the heart of the season. I'm going to say Bobby Alejnik. How that guy played for us as long as he did.
How can you say that about Bobby?
Johnny, honestly, what are you talking about?
Bobby Alejnik? Nonsense.
How he played for us as long as he did. One game that sticks in my mind was a game through at Fir Park on a Sunday afternoon. We got beat 1-0. Bobby Alejnik came out to get the ball and handed it outside the box. And Motherwell scored the winning goal for the free kick. And how he played with us for as long as he did, I don't know.
Poor Bobby,
I agree. I think that's a great choice. I don't think he was that great.
What about you, Ryan?
I've actually been thinking about this for a couple of weeks since I'm coming on, so I've had to I've studied the teams that I've kind of maybe witnessed, but one that sticks out to me was John Stewart.
I remember one time John Stewart was in the Spar and came on Main Street. I'm sure he got chucked out because he had his dog in him and it was back. He probably was at the time when he's going, I might be getting chucked out, it's only a dog.
Nothing that you hear about John Stewart shocks you at all, if I'm being honest. All of these stories. Bear in mind, this is the guy that sent me an aggressive DM.
That's right. He wanted a fight with you, ginger on ginger. But
actually, I wonder if I'll see him on Tuesday night.
You might do. Good choices there. Let's talk about the game. Ryan, I didn't. I've only seen the highlights. I'll be honest with you. Ross, you watched it on Falkirk TV. Callum, you made it to the game, didn't you?
Yeah, we were there yesterday. Yeah, I was there.
Yeah. Obviously, a couple of changes from the side. Leon McCann coming back in at left back for Sean Mackey. Luke Graham, obviously coming, end up on the bench as well. With Liam Henderson coming back into the side as well. Ross, I don't think Hendo coming back into the side is surprising. What I was actually quite surprised, I thought Sean Mackey had a decent game last week, and surprised that Leon came in for him.
I was as well. Yeah, I wasn't shocked that Hendo started. We did kind of think he was going to come back in. So I did think Luke might end up back on the bench. However, yeah, Sean Mackey not starting was a bit of a shock for probably most people. I know we've got this game in midweek, so maybe that's his thinking that he's going to play Sean.
Sean obviously played really well against Airdrie at their place back, and he obviously got that goal as well. So that, you know, and that's actually, it's a good point, because Leon, you always feel that Airdrie completely target Leon.
Yeah.
So they maybe done it that way, just to kind of rotate the squad round. You guys, would any other changes you would have made, Callum, to that side, or?
No, not really. I think the team played really well at Capital the week before, and John's not really won it. Really changes a winning team, but I understand probably why he brought Hendo back in. But looking at Graham and Big Call last week, Capital, they played really well to get each other, and they looked very strong in command, and I think they had very little to do as well. So it was a bit of a shock there, but I understand why he's came back in. I think the McCann one was a bit of a strange one for me, but as you mentioned, there's games coming up thick and fast in the next week, so squad rotation.
I guess, Ryan, as well, you try and not drop your captain, so obviously Luke Graham was the one that kind of lost out in this place.
Yeah, we've been saying it for weeks that there needs to be more stability in the back. We keep chopping and see it in games that there isn't the connection between the back four sometimes. But for me, I think you need to really get Hendo into midfield again. I think we should be playing Graham and Donaldson as the partnership of Hendo. I think for weeks that Tate needs a rest in the nicest way possible. But especially from yesterday's performance, he needs arrested, that's for sure.
Yeah, bright start to the game, Ross. After 5 minutes delay due to the pyro, I was sitting in the pub going, this Falkirk game, it was ages coming in, and I didn't realise there had been a delay due to the pyro. But 1,600 away fans in a 2,200 crowd's pretty good going. It looked like a good atmosphere in there yesterday. Was it, Cal?
No, it was. The fans were up for it from the start. As we left the pub about 2:30, and as you were coming down for the retail part, you could hear the fans kind of before you go in the underpass. You could hear the noise already from behind the goal. So the fans were up for it. I think the pre-match beers kind of helped as well. But no, definitely it was definitely a good atmosphere before it.
I know there's always chat about pyro and what have you, but it looked fantastic when you see it. I know, John, I know you're going to shake your head now, but it did. It looks fun. It looks phenomenal.
Here's Ross get the badge in Wayne here. He honestly, if he wasn't the age he was, he'd be in amongst it with a flare in his hand and his Stone Island and a balaclava.
I don't know if I'd wear the balaclava, but certainly, I think it adds something. I know we've spoken about it loads, but I think it adds something. Obviously, you don't want anybody injured or hurt, and I don't think there was, or any question of that. But it did look amazing. But yeah, that did start the game. Was it 5 or 6 minutes past 3 off? Huge. Just as we're talking about the crowd, though, huge away numbers considering we were obviously away last week. We're away. We were away yesterday, and a lot of people will have already bought their tickets for Airdrie because of the late notice of the call off in January. So it's an expensive time, and I'm not convinced there was 700 or 800 Accies fans there, if I'm being honest. When you see how sparse the homestand was as well, I think there's some weird number fiddling there. But
I know, especially when you see it at the equaliser, when you see tumulty celebrating up the far end, there's little to no one based around. So I don't know where they got the 700 odd from.
No.
Yeah. Like I say, bright start to the game despite the late kick-off. Good free kick from Calvin Miller. Calvin Miller seemed to be really involved initially. Barney, big chance for him as well, which was cleared away as well. you just think, Ryan, that this, once Barney gets his first goal, it's something, there's more going to come. He just needs to get that first goal, isn't it?
Definitely. Obviously, the Morton game, I thought the assistant needs the most. I think that when he does get that goal, like compared to his assists as well, I think he could be a really important player for us to do the rest of the season.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's always, Ross, the clamour for Gary Oliver to get into the side as well, because we're always unbeaten under Gary Oliver. But I think Barney's he showed up really well at Morton, and he's deserved of his place.
I would agree. He puts himself about massively. As we heard from John McGlynn on Friday night, he's a massive, massive fan of Barney Stewart. And it's not, as you said, it's not that he's not a fan of everybody else, because he really is. But I think he looks at Barney's size, he looks at his athleticism, and he knows there's goals in him. And as we've just said the other night, as soon as he gets one, I think he'll be off and running.
It would be good, however, to have the option of Eamon Brophy at some point after him playing one game for us so far, just for that run. And obviously, we don't know where Ross is in terms of his injury as well. I don't know if you guys have heard anything of how far Ross is away, but because at the moment we are a wee bit light, because Gary Oliver, we know it's not the traditional 9 that we probably would look for. So Eamon Brophy getting fit again would be quite good, so that'd be nice and handy if he could get that, because it's turned into an absolute nightmare for him at the moment. The other mention as well is that Aidan Nesbitt, we found out as well, had a calf injury as well, so fingers crossed he makes it back for Airdrie or potentially Dunfermline as well. As I said, Calvin Miller started bright, and it was his cross that led to the first goal. Brilliant ball in, absolutely great ball. We tend not to utilise Calvin as much, but I thought his delivery was fantastic for that Liam Henderson goal, Callum.
No, absolutely, and I think had consecutive corners. There must have been about 4 or 5, then a minute's break, another 2 or 3, and thankfully at least one of them kind of we got in the end of one, and Mick Kendall got up, great leap, and good head on the bottom corner, and just send away end into Raptors.
That's him scored a good few goals now. So I'm just trying to tot up Hendo's goal. I think John spoke about it after in his interview. I think is it 4 in the last 5 or something like that?
4 or 5. Yeah, 4 or 5 goals he's up to now. He's got a good return for considering he's obviously a centre half. Hence why we do look dangerous at corners. And as Callum said there, we'd had 4 or 5 corners on the spin, and you just thought, come on, one of these, we're going to have a dangerous situation in one of them. And as Callum just said, he rose like an absolute salmon above everybody. And it wasn't really a bullet header. It was just the pace of the ball was perfect, and he just got enough of a nick on it to put it into the far corner.
Yeah.
Ryan, we've spoke about Liam Henderson potentially being Player of the Year so far on this podcast. What do you think?
I mean, the way he's been playing this season has obviously been very important for us, no matter where he's been playing. But he's got to be number 1 spot now, and I said Mr. Arfield might be no far behind him if they keep saying his goal tally that he's been going.
That's true. Talking about Scott Arfield, actually, I've seen a lot of people, and we'll get into your opinions on it. Very quiet, probably his quietest game in a Falkirk jersey so far, Callum.
Yeah, I would say so. He kind of played a kind of deeper role at times as well, and let Tate and Spencer advance at times, but I think it was probably a quieter game that he's probably had since he's returned back to the club.
Yeah. At that point, 1-0 Ross, you were really hoping that we'd put the foot down. Couple of chances maybe, but we looked okay, and you just thought if you get another one, we've seen a record against Hamilton, you think if you go 2-0 up, game done, but it was just unfortunate that didn't happen.
No, it didn't. We had a couple of kind of half chances after the goal. I actually felt the shot that Brad Spence, because again, Miller had some fantastic sort of interchange play with Keelan Adams at times, and that sort of low cross that Spencer got on the end of. Talking about Scott Arfield, if it had felt his Scott's feet, I think it probably would have ended up in the back of the net.
Spencer's got to score that chance for me. He's got to get that, put that in. He's in an acre of space, and he just has to pick his spot. And like you say, Ross, I think it's a different outcome if Scott Arfield's standing where Brad Spencer is, because he would just pick his spot, and it would be 2-0. But it was a huge chance at that point, I think. But the goal came from Hamilton. Again, would you start with? I think the defence could have done better with it in terms of not taking away from Regan Tumley's finish because it was an outstanding goal from him, but defensively, I thought you need to clear your lines, you need to chase down, stop the crosses coming into the box. But it was a fantastic finish from Regan Tumley. Ryan, Nicky didn't have a chance with it, did he?
Nah, when it comes off the post like that, you're kind of clutching at straws to blame the goal. I mean, it's not exactly the best of clearances to be on, but you can't expect him, Regan Tumley, to be smashing that in the top corner for there.
No.
That's lazy defending, but at the same time, it's got to disrespect that second goal.
I agree with you, Ryan. That's what it felt like. It felt lazy. We had 3 big opportunities to deal with. One was Keelan not letting the boy cross it. Yeah. Right. I don't think he got close enough to him to stop the cross. The cross goes in, and I've watched it back a few times. I don't know what Dylan is half-assed his attempt at clearance. If he puts his foot through it, it's out for a corner or a bike or a shy or whatever. But he half-asses it. It spins over. Leon then doesn't really get a good head on it either, and he plays it straight into Tumley's right area. And as you said, Nicky's not going to have much of a chance with that finish.
Absolutely not. Let's talk a bit about Dylan Tate. You mentioned him there, Ross, probably being at fault for the first goal. He certainly was at fault for the second goal. And again, it was just the clearances were making. Scott Arfield had the chance to clear it well. I think Luke Graham had the chance to clear it well, or not even clear it, but play a ball into feet or something, because he just smashed up the park and it just kept falling to a Hamilton player. But then, comedy of errors in the box, Dylan Tate hitting it off Brad Spencer's back, it falls to Stuart McKinstry and he just has to slam it across the goalkeeper to make it 2-1. Just a comedy of errors, Callum. I mean, where'd you start with it?
No, I think, I've not mentioned it, but Big Call going off injured. We looked solid, and as soon as Big Call went off, we're all thinking round about us, they're bringing Lang and Graham, but we see Graham coming on, you're thinking, let's settle back to 4th early in the season, it should fit in fine, but they played as if they never knew each other, as if they never played with each other before. And we just kind of looked rattled as soon as the change was made and Call went off. But you're right. What I seen at the time, from where we were, it looked like Dylan passed it across the face of goal because we're that far away. It was the see the highlights, he took a deflection or two, but even still, what's he thinking about trying to clear it for there? Just get ready to get the bar, put it for a corner or something. Did he do that?
Agreed.
Yeah, talking about Call's injury, doesn't sound great. I don't think it looks like it could be a recurrence of what happened at the end of last season or the start of this season. So really hope Call's well and gets better, because I mean he's really we talked about last week at Morton. He was for us play of the week last week and made it in the SPFL team of the week as well actually. But big loss. I mean the good thing I guess, and obviously John mentioned this on Friday night, is we've got a lot of centre halves at the moment.
55, I think he said, didn't
he? Yeah. But I guess, Ryan, you would expect better with Luke Graham and Hendel, who were so good at the start of the season together. Like, you expect them to... And I mean, it's not really their fault for the goal, but it looked a bit unsettled.
Yeah, like I said earlier on, I think the fact that we keep chopping and changing, I can't remember the last time I started with the same back four. Like obviously recently it's been, I mean, it's only really been the left backs have been changing, but I feel like it's hard to blame anybody there. It's obviously there's issues, injuries, stuff like that, but the whole chopping and changing, it must be hard for the boys to get a bit of continuity and know each other's like a proper partnership. But it's a hard one. That must be difficult for John having to decide that every week.
Does Tom Lang get a shout to come back into the team, do you think, Callum? Or do you think, I mean, the way that Dylan Tate needs, for me, a bit of time on the bench. I think everyone said that for a couple of weeks now. He's just been off it. I mean, he was obviously sensational at the start of the season, but he just seems to, I don't know what's going on with him, but he seems to be, if it's just teams have figured him out or what have you, but there could be an argument to put Hendel back into midfield, but then do you lose that presence at the back and bringing in potentially Tom, or do you put Finn Yeats in there? There's a lot of potential chopping and changing.
He definitely needs a rest, in my opinion. He's not really played well since Hamilton, the home game. He's kind of had a few errors here and there, as we know. I think one of the goals against the Ayr They lost the ball in the middle of the park. The two yesterday, I think even last week, Capello, he only started well for the first 15, 20 minutes and he kind of died at the game. And eventually Finn came on. But I think even yesterday, the 20, 25 minutes that Finn played probably deserves a start on Tuesday night. You can just tell even by his body language coming into the kind of Christmas period into New Year, and you see him warming up, you're thinking, what's this guy got to do to get a start? You can just tell by the way his body language was.
Yeah, I would echo that. I think Finn does need to start in midfield alongside Brad on Tuesday night. He deserves it. He's waited long enough. And as much as we love Dylan, and we do, he's been such a big player for us since he signed. But what we can't be ignoring, and I'm sure John doesn't ignore it, is the fact that he's now cost us probably a dozen points this season due to errors, soft, like the giving the ball away at Wraith, if we go back to there, Livingston away in November, and then the more recent situations as well. I think if that was the shoe was on the other foot and it was Finn, I think he'd already be dropped.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it'll be Aidan Nesbitt's got a good shout going. I thought he done all right in that midfield area when he was put in there as well, and we all know the energy that he immediately brings to the team as well, up and down. So I think, you know, Finn obviously has been coming off the bench, but there is a shout, and if Aidan's fit again, for him to potentially go into midfield as well and bring that energy back into the midfield. So it'll be interesting to see what he does at Airdrie, but I think everyone's kind of in agreement that Dylan needs a wee bit of time on the bench. Second half, 2-1 down. Hamilton I mean, you were at the game, Callum. It seemed like a low block from them in terms of trying to protect that lead.
Yeah, absolutely. It was, you know what it's like when you're 2-1 up. You've got to kind of weather the storm against the opposing team, and they've done that in the first 15 minutes in the second half. But looking at the goalkeeper, when their goalkeeper came out before the game started, didn't look the best athletic. I think we should be testing him. He's a big guy. He's not going to get into corners, and we didn't really test him, in my opinion. We had chances here and there, but never really made him work as much as we could. I think Barney had a big chance. It was kind of 1-on-1. I don't think the highlights showed it, and it never really came to much, to be fair.
Yeah, I've obviously I haven't seen that chance. Accies could have. I mean, they had probably the better chance when Henderson somehow was lying on the ground and managed to block it, which was great, and the follow-up wasn't great. But it seemed to be a lot of chances for Falkirk in that second half. Gary Oliver, is that a potential penalty? There wasn't a massive shout went up, Ross.
You've seen it given. No, I'm not saying it's in the Stonewall camp, but you've seen plenty penalties given for being bungled over in the box, and I thought it was a reasonable shout for it, to be honest. And Gary Oliver's not someone who, unlike if we're going back to Dylan Tate, obviously Dylan has almost a penalty claim every other week, but Gary's not in that boat, so yeah, frustrating that we didn't get it. And obviously Miller Thompson had that shot just before the penalty claim as well. I like the look of Miller, I do. I don't know if he's going to start a game soon, but I think he brings something different. He really does.
I mean, if you are going to change anyone, Ryan, who would you, if you wanted to put Miller Thompson in that system, is it Ethan Ross that loses out?
I don't know, it's a hard one. Obviously, you've seen him wee gunches. I mean, obviously, had his opportunity at Morton. That was obviously a great effort for the outside of the box, stuff like that. But I'm not a big fan of this inverted wingers, to be honest with you. I think we get the best when he's playing on the left, he's hitting the touchline, he's cutting back. I think a lot of our goals last season specifically came from that. I think you lose a bit of him when he's out on the left because he doesn't really like using his right foot. And then obviously, I don't know, I love Ethan. I think he's a great player for us, but I think a lot of teams are figuring him out by all he does is cut in. So you lose the surprise of that. So we had the game against Queen's Park at Hampden. He could have had about 6 goals that day because they kept letting him in. But a lot of teams are showing him outside, and when he goes outside, he kind of forgets how to use his feet. But I say it's hard. For me, I think obviously maybe when we were originally meant to play Airdrie back in January when they were a bit of a bad place, that's maybe an opportunity for us to maybe try these things. But they seem to be kind of picking up again, so he didn't really. We're not in a position to be mucking around. We need to just kind of make sure we get 3 points and then get down the road. But it's hard to it must be like I said earlier on. It must be hard for John to try and utilise these players that are brought in because he's maybe a bit apprehensive. But if we do make changes, we play somebody, we drop points because of the changes, and then we're on his back for why he should never have changed it. But then we're sitting here talking about we should be making changes. It must be obviously difficult in that situation, but I don't know. I mean, Alfie's also good to bring on because he's just Captain Chaos, if you like, I suppose. But he just brings on, and teams don't really care what he's going to do. So,
do you not think Alfie's done enough on Saturday though to merit a start? I think he might on Tuesday night. I'm not saying he's brilliant when he starts, but I think if you're John McGlynn, he's probably made such an impact on Saturday that he probably deserves.
I think Alfie's better being an impact player. I think the last game he started was potentially the Wraith Cup game, and he got hooked at half time.
He was terrible that day.
In fact, I think he played against Wraith when we changed to the fight at 3 at the back at Starts Park. But I think he's a better impact player because he's coming up against wing backs that are tired. If you bring him on with 20 goals, he's got that strength and aggression. You seen it yesterday. He was up against their left back, and he had him in his back pocket. To be fair, so I think Alfie's more an impact player, but it's up to John to make that decision.
I tend to agree with you on that as well, Callum. I think he's more effective coming off that bench and just like you say, going against tired wing back who's mentally tired as well as being physically tired. And they just don't know how to deal with Alfie, because he's just a big lumpy boy running at you, and you're just going, oh, Jesus Christ.
I think Alfie doesn't know how to deal with Alfie
either. Well done, Alfie, though. Saved the day with the equaliser. Big Nicky up for the corner as well. I love when you see a goalkeeper go up for the corner, but it falls to Alfie at the edge of the box, Ross, and it's a great finish for the big man.
It was a beautiful finish. And yeah, he couldn't have placed it any better. And I don't think it touched the post, but it was a ball hair away from doing it. Speaking of Nicky though, when I was out earlier this afternoon, I bumped into Nicky and his girlfriend, and Nicky is taking credit for the goal because he's such a big guy. He took 2 of their players away from Alfie, so he is claiming credit for the equaliser.
It's a weird one because we were that far away from it, and it was a big Stramashi players. And it was like ping pong in their box, and we just seen Alfie running away. And we're going, how is that went in? Because it was like there was no power to the shot or whatever. And as you see it back in the highlights, how it went in, I don't know, but we'll take it.
Absolutely. And the big man had the chance to win the game as well. Oh, I mean, there was obviously scenes with the equaliser, but Alfie, he could probably had time to take a touch before even firing it as well, taking our touch on it, because I mean, at the game, Callum, you must have been going, oh.
I can still see the shot kind of scooting into the net behind the goals, and you're just sitting there, hands on your head. It's just one of those ones. It could have been what could have been.
You would have been on the park, Callum, had that winner went in.
The time I got down that stairs, Ross, the bus would have been away.
We're not all like you, you hooligan.
Listen, I'm not condoning pitch invasions, but I'm just saying the emotions would have been there. Callum would have been on that park.
Absolutely. But no, I mean, 2-2 overall, Callum, probably a fair result in the end, or do you think Falkirk deserved the win?
I think the start we had, we never took advantage of that 1-goal lead and then let them back in the game. They had chances at 2-1 to go 3-1, potentially even 4-1 up. So I think a draw was probably the right result at the end of the day.
Yeah. Well, let's hear what John McGlynn had to say after the match.
John, another point on the board today, but perhaps a difficult one to take at the end.
Yeah. Although we didn't start in the way that I wanted us to start, we still took the lead, and I think deservedly, but no with the quality play that we would normally have. But we had about 6 or 7 corners, one after another, within a very, very short period of time. So it told, and those scores with a header, good header, gets ourselves in front, and we're on top. And we actually start to play better. We take a bit of inspiration from that, and I think Calvin's done really well to get the ball back for Brad, who's run onto a ball and hit a really, really good shot. The goalie makes a save, and if we get 2-0 in front, maybe that would have been too much for Hamilton to get back. But we didn't quite kill them off, and we didn't quite get anywhere near in the phases of play building up to the first goal. We're always just no getting there, and we didn't get out to the shot that eventually goes in the back of the net, which is a good strike by Regan Tumley. So disappointed. probably it was the only shot they had at target, I think, at that time in the game, 36 minutes or so. So we've had a bad 10 minutes leading up to half time from that goal. We didn't do well after that in the first half. And the second goal is a bit of a, comedy errors in defence. We've got an opportunity to clear it. It hits off Brad, hits off Keelan, ends up at McKinstry's foot and he strikes and it's a goal. And so, although it wasn't great and we were always looking for high standards and quality and all that, I didn't think we really deserved to go behind. But, it's about putting the ball in the back of the net, we all know that. And Hamilton did that. And they had set up, quite rightly so, they were in a low block and it's up to us to break through them and then advance on us when they had the opportunities, which they did, and from that point of view they carried that out well. And of course we've got that at half time to get to really rise to the challenge. We're going to have to, we've given Hamilton a lot of inspiration. We know they've managed to get themselves in front. I mean, they've got a lot, when that happens you see them in the last 10 minutes of the first half, they're running harder, running longer and making it more difficult for us when you give the team some inspiration. And we knew that it was going to be difficult in the second half. Big Bairns had a chance, Goals made a really good save from him. There was other opportunities, little bits in pieces. Delighted for Alfie coming on and getting the goal, and we had other wee bits and pieces like that even after it. Alfie's got a really, really good chance to win the game for us, which would have been amazing, to come back so late and actually win the game. Brad had an opportunity with a shot, didn't quite catch it. Miller Thompson had an opportunity with a shot, didn't quite catch it. There was moments like that maybe we could have taken all 3 points. So we just got to take it on the chin. Didn't quite get to the levels we're used to. Fair play to Hamilton. They were well organised and worked really hard. We kept going, and the positives are that it might be an important point come the end of the season.
An important point, it could very well be that. Obviously the current standings with Livingston dropping points there on Friday at Thistle. We are currently 1 point clear of Livingston with a game in hand. However, we're 3 points clear of Ayr, and they have a game in hand against Livingston as well. So there could be a wee bit of change in that second place. We just need to go to Airdrie, I guess, on Tuesday night, Ross, and get 3 points. That's what needs to happen.
Yep, any win will do. I know we use that phrase loads on this podcast, but any win will do. We all want to go there and score a load of goals. But as Ryan said earlier, Airdrie's picked up. I know they got absolutely battered yesterday off Ayr. I think it was 3-0 at half time or something like that. But we need to go there and win. We need to win most of these games that we've got. Is it 10 now we've got left, isn't it? So we've got 10 games left. We probably need to win. Seven or eight of them.
I don't think we can lose. I can potentially one game. I think if you're going to win a league, you can only lose 5 games. We've lost 4. I think we can only lose 1 more. If we lose any more, backs against the wall.
I would give you that. Maybe afford a draw here and there, but you're talking 8 wins minimum.
Yeah, well, as I look at the fixtures this morning, Livingston playing Wednesday night as well. They play Wraith on Wednesday because of the Scottish Cup tie the next weekend, so they brought that forward. So Saturday, another game in hand against them. So
I mean, that's it. We'll talk about the Airdrie and Dunfermline matches with our guests in a bit. But let's see what you guys had to say about the Hamilton game. Ryan kicks us off saying, really poor performance after a positive start. Gifting goes again, has to stop. Massive improvement needed on Tuesday and Saturday. Our midfield was MIA. When we did get the ball, we just gave it away. Weirdly, we still could have won it with the chances we created and potential penalties as well.
Indeed. Jamie says, deserved nothing. Never looked like scoring after the 20th minute. The midfield was non-existent. Getting a point from a performance like that is usually a good sign, though. I agree with his second point. Getting a point out of that is a good sign. I can't agree that we didn't look like scoring, though, because like when you watch even just the highlights, which doesn't show every little bit of chance, we could have scored 4 or 5 goals yesterday had we just been a bit sharper and a bit better finishing.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Henry says, an opportunity missed. Airdrie and Dunfermline must-win games for me. Our season is going to come down to our last 3 away games, Livy, Ayr, then Partick. We need to win a couple of them unless we can win nearly every other game ahead of us. We must turn draws into wins.
Yep. Homer says, until they equalised, they didn't lay a glove on us. Then our defence simply fell apart and the midfield was dominated. They were the better team overall, and so we should take the point and move on. Tate needs a rest, and Mackie should have started over McCann.
That's interesting points there from Homer. Grant says in the first half hour, I thought we were going to throttle them, then we collapsed and we struggled to grab the game by the scuff of the neck. Just not good enough. Miller and Alfie were the only ones to get pass marks, I'm afraid.
Logan says, could be a massive point come the end of the season, but it needs to be followed up with a win on Tuesday. Otherwise, we bring Ayr and Livy right back into it.
Caroline says, Alfie's celebration was just pure joy, best part of the game.
It was a good one, to be fair. Random Falkirk fan says, never should have been in a position where Nicky has to go up for a corner, but we had to because we played terribly the entire game once they scored. We need to start Luke Graham, Sean Mackey and Finn Yeats on Tuesday and go at Airdrie from the first whistle.
And Dougie says, at this stage in the season, every point is a prisoner, so we'll take it and move on. On a brighter note, Benedict is suspended for next week. I don't know if he will be. I think Dunfermline will appeal that. If you watch I don't know if any of you guys have seen it yet, but I think they might win an appeal, and I think he might start. However, Benedictus is a fucking slower than a week in the jail at the moment, so I don't actually mind if Benedictus was to start, because we'll speak to Stephen about the Dunfermline game. Speaking to him, he said he is towing a cart horse. He's lost so much pace, so it might not be a bad thing if he was to start, I'll be honest with you, though he always seems to play well against us.
He does, sadly, and he scored the last time when we left him at the back post, didn't we? And finally, Bairns says, holding Falkirk Daft personally responsible. Next time, let John get a good night's kit before a game. He seemed he was a little lethargic with the subs.
Right, okay, we'll take the blame for that one then. I don't know if we can lay a draw at the feet of the Falkirk Daft live, though, but we'll take it on the chin. Right, let's move into the Falkirk Daft rated player. Ross Wayne, come to you first.
I thought he played really well overall, and a lot of stuff went through him. A lot of good stuff went through him. So I'm going to say Calvin Miller. Callum.
I'm going to say Alfie. He came on, he terrorised the wing back, and he obviously got the crucial goal at the end and could have won it. So I'm going to go Alfie.
Ryan, I'll give you the deciding vote, unless you want to go with someone different.
Nah, I think I'll give it to Alfie just purely for that extra point. So
there we go.
I'll take them.
Alfie gets it, which means 4 Falkirk Daft rated nominations for Alfie for the season, which ties him with Luke Graham and Liam Henderson. There you go.
See, considering he's not started many games as well, it just shows you
the impact he makes.
The impact he makes. Yep, absolutely.
There you go. Well done, Alfie. Who's your Dafty, Ross Wayne?
You mean other than us for having John McGlynn at the live event? I don't know. It would be an easy one to say the ref, because I thought it was a penalty on Gary Oliver. I think I'm struggling, to be honest. Other than that, I'm struggling. Well, actually, no, I'm not, because I'm going to say something I've said 10 minutes ago. Dylan Tate for 2 errors of judgment again.
Yeah.
So
okay, Callum.
Yeah, I'm going Dylan Tate as well. Cost 2 goals, needs a rest. So yeah, I'm going Dylan Tate.
Ryan.
Feel a bit bad, but I'm with Tate as well.
Right, there he goes. Dylan Tate gets it then for Dafty of the week. Sorry, Dylan. But yeah, I think, reading a lot of the comments online, hearing from you guys who were obviously at the game as well, and seeing Dylan's performances over the last month, it is probably time he just, gets on the bench and then comes on reinvigorated to prove a point to everyone, because he has been a bit off it. I think of his own admittance, he'll look at his performances and go, yeah, I need that. And so, I mean, Scott Arfield, I think he was quiet in that game as well. A lot of people said that as well, but fingers crossed. Scott Arfield has class, and we've seen that so far. So fingers crossed he just gets back and gets his bit between the teeth for the games against Airdrie, and I'm pretty sure he'll be up for it against Dunfermline as well. Right, okay, but we're now at the point of the show. I was victorious against John McGlynn and Ross on Friday on stage at Behind the Wall at Falkirk Daft versus, and I'm up against it because it's 2-on-1 today, Ross. So how are we going to do it this week? Are they going to take it in turns to answer the question?
Yeah, they're going to take it. They're going to take it in turns. Callum, as bus convener, is going to take the first question against yourself, John. Now, this is a special quiz because we have 2 dedicated Kevin McAllister fans on the podcast today. So this is a Kevin McAllister crunchy special.
Oh my word!
I can't imagine these boys getting any question about Kevin McAllister wrong. I'm just saying that.
I obviously spent Friday night with him as well. So, oh man, right, okay then, right, fine. Okay. Let's go for it.
So question number 1. What did Crunchy have for his dinner on Friday night? No, I'm joking. I'm not going to go there. So, question number 1. So, Callum, you're up first. And don't shout it out because remember, John's going to write his answer down. So, question number 1. Really nice, easy one for you to start, okay? Who did we sign Crunchy from in August 1983? So, who did we sign Crunchy from in August 1983? Now, Callum, you would have been 24, 25 at the time. You'll remember this really, really well. John, have you got something written down?
Yeah, I've written it down, yeah.
Okay. Callum, coming to you.
Camelon Juniors.
You're saying Camelon Juniors, John?
Camelon Juniors.
Boom. There we go. 1-1. Nice, easy start. Ryan, you're going to represent Kevin McAllister FSC here then. So, that was question number 1. Question number 2. Who did Crunchy, however, make his debut against the week after? So, still August 1983. But who did Crunchy make his debut against in August 1983? And if those who were listening, he mentioned this on Friday night as well. So, John, have you got something written down?
Yep.
Okay, Ryan, coming to you.
I remember I'm talking about this on Friday, but a bit of a blank. I think I'm going to go with Airdrie.
You're thinking Airdrie? Callum's got a smile on his face. John, you're saying Leeds United? It was Leeds United. It was.
Gave Frank Gray a torrid time in all accounts.
Yes, a 2-2 draw. Crunchy even scored that day. So it's 2-1 Falkirk Daft currently. Back to you, Cal. We sold Crunchy to Chelsea in May 1985, but for how much money? What was the total fee? So we sold Crunchy to Chelsea in May 1985, but for how much money? And I'll tell you what, I will give this one to the closest to.
Right, okay, I've written some down. Right.
Callum, come to you.
I don't know. It's a guess here. 10 grand.
You're saying £10,000. John McAnally.
75,000.
75,000. So neither of you have got it bang on the money, but one of you is closer. The full amount was £55,000. So Falkirk Daft take the point there. So was that 2-1? 2-1 so far?
3-1.
3-1. Beg your pardon. Sorry, John. My apologies. 3-1 so far.
They need this.
Ryan, you need this one.
For sure.
So I think John might know the answer to this one, however, although maybe not. So question number 4. How many different spells did Crunchy have in total for Falkirk? So how many different spells did Crunchy have in total? John's smiling, he knows it. So how many different spells did Crunchy have in total for Falkirk? John, have you got something written down?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Ryan.
4.
You're saying 4. John McAnally? It is 4. Well done, guys.
Yes! Beating the gaffer and then beating Ryan and Callum, double teaming me. It's been a great week in the McAnally household.
Please
I'll
do
tell
not
you that. I'll tell you that much.
In my mind.
I feel terrible because I don't know. I think we've told this story in the podcast before. At Kelty Hearts, I was a bit worse for wear, bit steaming. I was about to get thrown out by a steward, and then in amongst the crowd, a hero came along, as Mariah Carey said, and he jumped in front of the steward, said, "It's okay, he's on the Kevin McAllister supporters bus, he's with me." And that man who stopped me getting thrown out of Kelty Hearts in the 5-1 game was Callum. So I feel really bad beating Callum. But
I think it's just revoked and now banned you from the bus after that. It was on there.
Brilliant. So there we go. Fantastic. Go and give me the last question. See if I can make the clean sweep there, Ross.
All right. Okay. Here we go. So this who we're back to. We're back to Callum for this one, aren't we? So, last question was meant to be. So Crunchy left Falkirk for the last time on a free transfer in the summer of 2002. But who did he then sign for? Let me know if you've got something.
I've got the answer.
Okay, Callum, come to you.
Albion Rovers.
You're saying Albion Rovers, Mr. McAnally. Albion Rovers it was indeed. So you did get the clean sweep.
Yes!
That's a first. You've never got them all right.
Brilliant. There you go. My Crunchy knowledge is obviously up to stand. To be fair, I had to do a lot of research for the interview on Friday night, so it's all fresh in my mind. So a bit of a disadvantage, but well done, boys. Thank you so much for coming on Falkirk Daft. Let's hear the Champions League music again, just for the Queen Sweep. Brilliant. But thanks so much for coming on, guys. Really appreciate it. Callum, you're still my hero. Don't worry about that. And then we'll get you on at sometime, hopefully in the next season as well. So thanks for
John, just before the boys go, they've got something to plug. Callum, he's on.
So Saturday the 19th of April, we are having our Player of the Year night. Kevin McAllister Supporters Club Player of the Year night in the Ghanian Social Club. It's a 7:30 start and it's £5 a ticket. So if anybody's interested, drop us a message on the Kevin McAllister Supporters Club Facebook, and we can get you along.
Always
Great.
a good night. Always
smashing. Definitely try and get it down to that one as well. If you like to be a pundit like Callum and Ryan, drop us an email or DM us. pundit@falkirkdaft.co.uk.
This is Falkirk Daft.
With Behind the Wall. Stay local. Eat and drink global.
Right, it's a Falkirk Daft first now as we preview the next two games at once, and we're going to do that in the company of Colin from the OTL podcast, who we've had on all season, and another man, my colleague from the Big Scottish Football podcast. We've had him on before as well. It's Stephen Mill to look at the Dunfermline game. Gentlemen, welcome to Falkirk Daft.
How you doing, guys? All right?
He's all right.
Excellent. I mean, let's just start. We're playing bottom and second bottom in the next week, Ross. So, you know, unfortunately, Colin, it does look like Airdrie might, and we talked about it just there before we came on air, you might just run out of time. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, we were also saying I'm much happier about the football because we've improved. The difficulty is we were so bad in the first half of the season that even the recent improvement, we're still 10 points behind Stephen's team, so and worse goal difference. So time is running out. Tuesday night is bottom versus top, but it's getting on for a must win for us just to give us even the hope of being able to bridge the gap. Dunfermline coming back from 1-0 down and winning with 10 men on Saturday was huge for them, and felt quite like momentum shifting as well, because Stephen had been watching Michael Tidser and I kind of been quite happy seeing him having a bit of a meltdown after the last game, but in fairness, it worked. His team showed character and turned it around. So yeah, not feeling great in terms of the prospects of the season, but at least we've improved, so we've got that to hang on to.
Stephen, do you want Falkirk to win on Tuesday night?
Yes, I do. Because as much as that,
just say that again, Stephen. Sorry.
I don't know, because even yesterday, for the game against Hamilton, obviously I was laughing a lot because you know, it's always great to see Falkirk shit the bed, but you know, even when you scored the sort of last minute equaliser, I was actually like, I can take that. That's actually better for us, because you know, I mean, it would have been an unbelievable week for Hamilton had they beaten us on the Tuesday and then beaten Falkirk yesterday. And just as Colin was saying there, I think that like Tuesdays, and in fact, the next two games are massive for Airdrie because it's Hamilton on Saturday as well, isn't it? So, you know, if Airdrie end up winning those two games, then you know it's going to make things really interesting. However, if I think anything less than a win for Airdrie on Tuesday night, then it is done, because you know, what will there be 9 games left? Is that what we're at now? 9 games left, I think it is. You know, and if Dunfermline will win at least a couple, you would think. So you know, that would mean that Airdrie would need to win three or four, like, you know, 5 or 6 matches between now and the end of the season. I just can't see that happening. I know Airdrie have picked up. You know, obviously against there was a bit disappointing for them, but you know, generally, and you know, Colin was saying there, they look like they've got their a wee bit of their mojo back. But yeah, massive win for Dunfermline yesterday. I'm not going to lie, at half time, and I spoke to John on Thursday actually, last time I seen him, and I was just like, you know, that second half against Hamilton was brutal, like genuinely one of the worst Dunfermline performances I've ever seen in my life, which is quite the accolade. But you know, just like nothing about us. Hamilton were so comfortable, and we never even had them under any pressure. We didn't even have corners. We didn't even. I don't think their keeper had a save to make, and it was just really worrying. However, if we can keep Chris Kane fit between now and the end of the season, we're going to be fine, because I think he's, you know, he's our best player by a million miles. And you saw the difference. He only came on for half an hour yesterday, and he actually should have had a hat trick. He scored twice, but he should have had a third as well. And I'm just glad that the players sort of reacted a wee bit better, because, as Colin says, I was a wee bit worried with Tidstor's post-match interview on Tuesday night as well, because I was like, we need these, as much as the players aren't very good, we still need them till the end of the season to keep us up. And chucking them under the bus isn't always isn't the best thing to do, as previous managers at Dunfermline have done, previous managers at Falkirk have done as well. It doesn't always end well. So it looks like he's got the reaction that he wanted. And I think I'm not. It's bizarre, like the way Falkirk are playing as well. Obviously, I didn't see the game yesterday, but having spoken to John, I'm guessing it wasn't a vintage performance, and it's a big week for Falkirk as well. Like the pressure's on. This is it. This is the business end of the season, and all know my predictions about what's going to happen now.
Yes, we do know that. The Michael Tidser effect's not really happened, I'm guessing, on the way you are. We've spoke, Stephen, about the tippy-tappy football that's not impressing the Dunfermline faithful. And obviously, he's brought in a lot of young players. How have they been looking?
Mixed. Some of them look like competition winners, and other ones look like they're far too good to play for us. Like, Mullen, the centre half, who was previously at Liverpool. I think he was Leeds under-23 captain as well. He was on loan at Inverness the start of last season, and he broke his back. So there was big fitness doubts over him, but he's come in, and he shouldn't be playing Ross. Basically, he looks very, very good. You'll see him on Saturday. Hopefully, he doesn't have a stinker now. But he's looked really solid so far, and a really good footballer as well. Like you could play him in midfield quite comfortably. He's really good on the ball. So really impressed with him. The boy Oakley, who we brought in towards the end of the window as well, who was the guy who was in the under-17s England World Cup winning team. He hasn't played a lot of football in 18 months, and it shows. First half hour against Hamilton on Tuesday, he looked like Emmanuel Petit, and then for the last hour, he looked like he would have been as well just sort of like sitting in the dressing room, because he's clearly not fit. But I think there's a player in there. The boy Archie Stevens, we've got on loan from Rangers, really, really young, but doing really well with the Rangers B team, I believe. But obviously, there's a big step up from the Lowland League to the Championship. And but again, I do think there's signs there that he's a pretty decent player. He played in the middle yesterday, the middle of the park. So he's a good football player. He's got great feet. He's got a bit of vision. His pace. He's direct. However, like a lot of wingers and a lot of young players, he's just missing that wee bit of, final added touch. And then, as I say, some of the other boys, less said the better. But that when you're signing 9 players, there's going to be some donkeys in there, and unfortunately, we've got a few of them. But as I say, Chris Kane, absolutely vital. If he's playing, we've always got a chance in any game. I would always back us to get something if Chris Kane is playing, because I think our record without Chris Kane this season is absolutely appalling. But when he's in the team, I think it's much better. So I really hope that he can stay fit between now and the end of the season, and we should be fine. However, if we replicate anything like second half on Tuesday, then we're in big trouble.
Colin, for where have Airdrie really picked up? Because we've obviously spoke to you right across the season as well, Colin. You were a little bit, when we previewed this game before it was cancelled the last time, you were a bit more optimistic of the direction Airdrie were heading in terms of on the park. Who have been the important players that have made a difference to you?
So injury crisis over, so some guys coming back have been like new signings, especially I'd say Dean McMaster, who's a young holding midfielder that we've got. We signed Alex Bannon from Burton on loan, who was at Queen's Park last year and got the move down south. I think it just wasn't quite working out for him. He's been brilliant. And we've got Lewis Strappin as well, who's been really good. So we just look a lot more solid defensively, because we were just leaking really soft goals. And then other guys who've been there all season, like Chris Mockery and Ben Wilson, have started playing much better. So I think there's a bit of a what might have been if we'd had the team fit the full year, we could have made a better fist off it. But yeah, it's just a combination of some good January recruitment with the two defenders and guys coming back into the team has really improved us.
I completely forgot you had Lewis Strap. Have you been utilising that long throw-in?
Well, we had been, but against Stephen's team the other week, he managed to dislocate his shoulder doing it. So
fabulous!
He's lost his superpower. So at the moment he's shaping up to do it and drying the ball on the jersey and then running in just doing a short throw. So he's not trusted his shoulder yet, but we might see it back. So yeah, it might only be a decoy again on Tuesday night. And Stephen, surely he's gone from Emmanuel Petit to carry on. Emmanuel was where that one had to go.
I know. I'm a wee bit rough if I'm being perfectly honest with you. My brain isn't working. So,
John, I didn't think that's where you were going with that question. I thought you were going to say have the media team been able to utilise the strap on tweet if he's come off the bench.
He was marking Dick, so strap on Dick for Airdrie against Wraith Rovers was getting
excellent.
That's
why we're here.
I believe I was told a couple of weeks ago that Lewis Strap was very close to signing for Dunfermline earlier on in the window. But guess what? His agent's Jackie McNamara, so he's ended up at Airdrie. I don't know what's going
on. What a shock! What a shock
that is.
Absolutely. So Airdrie Tuesday, Ross. What are you thinking in terms of Falkirk and how we'll fit up against them? I mean, obviously up until this season, really, Airdrie have always been a team that have given us trouble. Again, we will not mention the playoff game as Colin. I'm surprised Colin has not brought it up yet.
You keep pulling at that scab every time I come on. It's great.
Yeah, well, if Colin doesn't mention it, I'm sure Stephen's got it up his locker for the playoff.
I'm more than happy to talk about that playoff. I thought it was quite funny, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah. No, I think... See, Airdrie's record up until the weekend there was very, very good. And they've come up against a really bang-on air team. On paper, it should be an away win on Tuesday, but obviously, as we know, it doesn't always work like that. My mantra, as I said about an hour ago when we were talking about this game came up, any win will do. And I know Stephen alluded to it as well, that you're at the business end of the season. You need to be winning your games, whether you want to win the league or whether you want to stay in the league. You need to be winning your games. That said, I think regardless of how Tuesday goes, I'm tipping Airdrie to catch Dunfermline before the end of the season because I just think the form that they've shown against every other team, they're proving that they are on a bit of a better keel than them. Dunfermline's form is really mixed. They've had a couple of wins, a couple of draws, a couple of losses. They're here, there and everywhere. They're obviously going to get a really heavy defeat on Saturday. I just think it'll knock them silly. So that's my thinking there.
What are you thinking for Tuesday, Colin?
I think it'll come down to the first goal. I'll tip Airdrie to win 2-1. Neither team wants a draw, so I think it should be a really entertaining game because if it's still even with like 20 minutes to go, both teams are going to have to go for it. I think it'll be an entertaining watch and on the telly, isn't it? Because it was going to be on the Friday night, and I think it's on BBC Scotland. So hopefully it's a good game. Airdrie to sneak it 2-1.
Yeah. And you guys are doing something special before the match on Tuesday, aren't you? We can see it in your background if you're watching the video version right now.
Yeah, so one of my panellists has set up Airdrie for All, and it's just a food bank collection. So if any Falkirk fans are feeling particularly charitable, they're just looking for like tinned food donations and collecting as much as they can for a couple of local food banks before the game. So any Falkirk fans wanted to get involved, that would be great.
Yeah, hopefully we were saying that there should be a decent sized crowd coming through as well because a lot of people would have bought the ticket and obviously using it again, so I think you'll get a decent crowd. So any Falkirk supporters, take stuff for the food bank, hand it over. Is it just going to be the main stand, Colin?
Yeah, there's just going to be a collection before the turnstiles. I think I'll see if we can get somebody around at the Falkirk end as well, but there's definitely, next to the home turnstiles, just going to be a couple of collection points.
Brilliant, okay. Moving on to Dunfermline then on Saturday. Ross, you've tipped them for relegation. Where do you think Falkirk will show up? Obviously, we know. My worry is, and I've messaged Stephen earlier, their due result against us. But maybe the draw at East End Park was the result they'll get this season. I don't know.
Yeah, I hope so. Again, from our side, it's just any win will do. I know it was a bit bravado there about a big win, but I think any win will do from our side for the next 9 games. I think that's what we've got left now, isn't it? So
after the
after Airdrie, big part. So yes, we've got 10 games left, and I just think any win will do. I do think we will win on Saturday, but I do think it'll be a tight game, as it always is against Dunfermline. I'm going to share what Colin just said. I'm going to go 2-1 for Tuesday, and I'm going to say 2-1 for Saturday as well.
Is it all about Chris Kane for Saturday then, Stephen? If Chris Kane starts, Dunfermline win?
Not necessarily win, but I would fancy us to get something if Chris Kane starts, definitely. He's such an important player. He just offers something different. I mean, I think he would get a game for every other team in the league. I think he's a really good striker. And he's been so vital to us this season. Just to pick up on what Ross was saying there, I think I actually agree, like what you're saying about Airdrie in terms of they're picking up and playing well, and I like Rhys McCabe and what he does, and I like the way they play football, even though, if you're watching it every week and it's not working, it's probably absolutely doing you nothing. But, I do have a bit of admiration for him just sort of sticking to it. But I think Airdrie are going to run out of games. I think that's going to be Airdrie's problem. And, as I said earlier on, if we win 2 or 3 matches between now and the end of the season, it means that Airdrie need to win 5 or 6 and beat us as well. So I just think they're going to. I think that's a really hard task for them. So obviously, I mean, if they win on Tuesday night, then it makes it a wee bit more interesting. Then it's Hamilton on Saturday. But I do also think that we're probably going to pick up some unexpected. Like, we've got a tough run over the next 3 or 4 weeks. We've got obviously Falkirk away, we've got Wraith Rovers away, we've got Ayr away as well. So, I think we'll pick up points somewhere. I don't know where it will be, but all that will do is just drag in the teams above us as well. The likes of Hamilton, I think Morton are in a bit of trouble as well. Wraith Rovers looks shocking. Looks like they've chucked it. And obviously,
it's brilliant. It's brilliant.
It's brilliant. We all agree that Wraith Rovers' fucking downfall hopefully happens. And I think we're all in agreement because they are one of the most hated teams in the league.
Yeah, I mean, they've made a rod for their own back over the last 18 months, haven't they? So I don't think anyone will be shedding any tears. But no, I still do. I don't think Wraith Rovers are going to get relegated or anything. But I think that relegation playoff spot, it's not done and dusted yet. I think there's still ourselves, obviously, Hamilton, Morton, Wraith, maybe Queen's Park as well. I mean, it's pretty tight between those. Any one of those teams could finish in the relegation playoff spot. I just hope it's not us. And if we can get through the next 3 games, maybe getting 4 points or something, I'd definitely take that because it's a tough run of fixtures. In terms of Saturday, if Chris Kane's fit and he's in the lineup, I'd fancy us to get a point. If he's not, it could be about 6-0 to Falkirk. So that's how important he is. He's really vital. And obviously, we don't know what's going to happen with Benedictus.
I was going to ask you, do you think that'll be overturned?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it,
I went and watched it, and it looks like
he gets the ball. I mean, it's hard to tell whether he's offside, but people at the game were saying the boy was offside anyway. But I believe the club are going to appeal it, and I would be fairly surprised if it doesn't get overturned because it's a bit of a shocker for the referee, to be perfectly honest with you. Obviously, it didn't actually matter in the end because we won, but obviously, Benedictus is a really important player for us, and we kind of lack a wee bit of experience in the team. It was good yesterday. Aaron Conway was back as well, right back. We brought in the left back from St Johnstone as well, Andre Raymond, who looks pretty decent. So there's a wee bit more experience in there now, which is better. So hopefully we can just keep everyone fit and we can just wrap Chris Kane and bubble wrap between now and the end of the season. He could do like a Ledley King and just swim during the week and not play football. He could just swim and go on a bike or something like that, like a stationary bike that you can't fall off, and just play no football towards the end. Just play football on match days because he's that vital, and we can't not be with him in the team because he's such a good player for us. So yeah, I'm bizarrely. I'm not confident, but if Chris Kane's in the team, I'd fancy us to get something on Saturday. And obviously, if it derails Falkirk's season, even better.
Obviously. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for coming on and doing this. We really, really appreciate your time. Big week for Falkirk, Ross. We'll see where we are. Like you said, we just need to keep winning. We need to get back to winning ways. And if we want to have any chance of winning this league, which I'm sure you guys will be fully supporting Falkirk in their title promotion charge. No. No, I didn't think so.
No,
I didn't think so. But best of luck down there to the two of yous. Colin, I'll be quite sad if Airdrie do go down. I do enjoy talking to you on this podcast. I'll be very sad in that perspective. Well, we might be in the Premiership, so who knows? Anyway, who knows? And Stephen, Stephen,
you can't help yourselves. You can't help yourselves, can you? Look at you. You can't help yourselves.
When you've been top of the league for so long, you've got to dream, Stephen. You've got to dream.
Oh, yeah. But this is where it counts. This is where we separate the wheat from the chaff.
Stephen, are you suggesting that we may not actually need the open top bus that John and I have sponsored for May?
I think that I mean, listen, it's going to be tight. It is going to be tight. Like, obviously, I'm winding you up, and I've been winding you up all year, and I've had a lot of fun with Fortunate Falkirk and all the rest of it. But obviously, Falkirk have had a cracking season. There's absolutely no getting away from it. And coming up for League One, I don't think anyone would have suggested Falkirk going for the title. I mean, used to, certainly not. But it's been an amazing season for you guys. But this is the business end, and I do think, as much as Livingston dropped points on Friday night, they're not losing many games. And good result against Airdrie at the weekend as well. It's going to be a fascinating end of the season, and I just think the fact that you've still got to go to Livingston and still got to go to Ayr, that's big. But who knows what will happen over the next few weeks? As long as Falkirk don't win the league, I'll be fucking pleased. So,
well, I want to lay I want to lay something down here, Stephen. I don't know if you. So, if Falkirk do win the league, right, we're going to be doing Falkirk Daft Live 4, and that's what we're hoping. Hopefully, do a promotion party potentially if we win the league. Will you come along to it and come on stage if Falkirk were to win the league?
How much fucking money are you going to give me for that? Can't think of anything worse that I would rather not do. I'll come along if you don't win the league. How about that?
Right, fair enough. Yeah. Fair enough. I'll bring Jambo Bairn as well along as well, so you've got some support. But listen, brilliant. Boys, thank you so much for coming on Falkirk Daft. Really appreciate your time. Best of luck in your relegation dogfight down there while we're trying to fight for going up to the Premiership. So all the best, boys, for Tuesday and Saturday. But we don't mean it as a fight.
Fuck off, John. Bye.
This is Falkirk Daft.
With Behind the Wall and the Falkirk football fans in training.
And that is it for this week's Falkirk Daft. Thanks very much for listening. Thanks to Ryan and Callum for coming on being our guest pundit, and to Stephen and Colin to come on and preview. I had fun with that. It was good fun. I
liked that. That was a good laugh. Yeah, it was good.
Bottom and second bottom, Airdrie and Dunfermline. Who would have thought, Brilliant. I love it.
It is. You just need Wraith a bit further south.
Oh God, if Wraith, I know. But there you go. Before we go, we of course have the Craig Taggart Roll of Honour, which we need to rattle through. So well done to Grant, Phil, Archie, Dell, Dave, Joe, Charlie, Tommy, Scott, Kenny, Willie, Josh, Elsa, Pauline and Dave M for all getting on the Craig Taggart Roll of Honour. Who will be our player for next week though, Ross?
Well, his name came up on Friday night. Unless you've got one, I've got a name.
I've got one, but I can save my one. If you were talking on Friday night about someone, I think I know who you're going to talk about.
Go on then, have a guess.
Is it Scott Sloan?
It is Scott Sloan. How the fuck did you?
Because I remember obviously talking about we were talking to Ian McCall before. Yeah. He said he was fucking useless. I believe.
We need to mention him.
I believe that was Ian McCall's quote. It was fucking useless. They tell a story about him as well. I can't remember the story he told about him.
Some of the stories from Ian were brilliant.
Absolutely. But there we go. Scott Sloan, what a player. Get him on to get on the Roll of Honour next week, and we'll put you on the Scott Sloan Roll of Honour. Thanks very much for watching or listening to Falkirk Daft. Remember, you can get merch still. Pints and Prints, saw Gordon there on Friday night. They've got a couple of Falkirk Daft t-shirts up on Pints and Prints, and along with some amazing Falkirk merch as well. But if you want to have an actual Falkirk Daft with our logo on it, you can get that merch.falkirkdaft.co.uk. The link is below. You can get anything you want with Falkirk Daft on it. You really can. It's all there. merch.falkirkdaft.co.uk if you want to check that out. If you're listening to the podcast, you can see us on YouTube. If you're watching us, you can listen to it in your car on the way to work. You get us on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram as well to keep up to date of everything that's going on in the show. We'd really appreciate a little follow from you. Huge week, Ross, as we spoke about. Two games we need to win. Airdrie, Dunfermline, two massive rivals. Fingers crossed we can do it.
Really hope so, pal. Really hope so. It's huge week.
Huge week in the title
they're
race.
All huge now, but yeah.
They are all huge. Like you say, 10 huge games in front of us. As Callum says, we can only probably afford to lose one more game this season.
He's right. No, he's right as well. So.
You know, and so that means if we lose against Airdrie and Dunfermline, we need to go to Livingston and Ayr away and beat them, quite simply. So let's see where we're at this time next week. Fingers crossed it's still top of the league. And until next week,
expect unexpected, buddy. One of Bairns.
We're Falkirk Daft, we're Falkirk Daft, talking about the dark blues and having a bit of a laugh. We're Falkirk Daft, we're Falkirk Daft. You can listen in the pub or you can listen in the bath. We're Falkirk Daft, we're Falkirk Daft. For everyone who's caring about being a Falkirk Bear, we're Falkirk Daft. We are Falkirk Daft.